राम कबीर भजन की शुरुआत कर जो।
गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरा गुरुर्साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरुवे नमः। जय कुंज बिहारी जय हृदय निवासी हो जय कुंज बिहारी जय हृदय निवासी। जग में सब रिश्ते स्वार्थ के दिया प्रभु ने ज्ञान। शस्त्र उठाओ हे अर्जुन कहते श्री कृष्ण भगवान। जय कुंज बिहारी जय हृदय निवासी। रणभूमि में एक तरफ थी कौरव सेना सारी और दूसरी और पांडवों के संग कुंज बिहारी। अर्जुन सोच रहे थे कैसे किस पे चलाओ बाण। शस्त्र उठाओ हे अर्जुन कहते श्री कृष्ण भगवान। बोलो जय कुंज बिहारी जय हृदय निवासी। है अपने ही भाई बंधुज दूजी और खड़े हैं। अर्जुन कहते रिश्तों के भी मूल्य बड़े होते हैं। अपनों से ही सब भगवान। बोलो कुंज बिहारी जय हृदय निवासी। अत्याचारियों के विरोध में छेड़ी गई थी लड़ाई। पाप अंत से कहते प्रभु जी होगी बहुत बड़ाई। करो धर्म की रक्षा अर्जुन करो धर्म की रक्षा अर्जुन पाओगे सम्मान। शस्त्र उठाओ हे अर्जुन कहते श्री कृष्ण भगवान। बोलो कुंज बिहारी जय जय गिरिधारी। फिर भी अर्जुन ना माने तो प्रभु जी ने समझाया। दिव्य दृष्टि अर्जुन को देकर निज स्वरूप दिखलाया। शस्त्र उठा के तब अर्जुन ने पाया प्रभु वरदान। शस्त्र उठा के तब अर्जुन ने पाया प्रभु वरदान। बोलो कुंज बिहारी जय हृदय निवासी। बोलो कुंज बिहारी बोलो हृदय निवासी। राम कबीर।
રામ સૌને રામ કબીર. ઓમ શ્રી કબીરાય નમઃ. શ્રી કૃષ્ણ વંદે જગદગુરુ. સૌને રામ કબીર. શ્રી રામકબીર ભક્ત સમાજ ઓફ યુએસએના પ્રમુખ અને સૌ કાર્યકર્તાઓ, અન્ય કાર્યકર્તાઓ અને અન્ય શાખાઓ વતી હું આ સૌનું રાજેન્દ્ર ભક્ત આજના કબીર વિઝડમમાં સ્વાગત કરું છું. તો અને આપણે દર રવિવારે એ કબીર વિઝડમને ના પ્લેટફોર્મ પર આપણે મળીએ છીએ. તો આજની પણ એક શરૂઆત જે એક આધ્યાત્મિક માર્ગ પર આપણે ચાલીએ છીએ તે માટે શ્રીમાન મધુસૂદનભાઈ મૂળ દારોદ ફિનિક્સ એરિઝોનાથી એમણે જે મંગલમય ભક્તિમય અને આધ્યાત્મિક વાતાવરણ બનાવ્યું તે બદલ ભક્ત સમાજ આપનો આભાર માને છે. અને આવી રીતે જ મધુભાઈ આવતા રહેજો અને શરૂઆત આપણા કાર્યક્રમોની એક ભક્તિમય મંગલમય અને તમારા મધુર કંઠે શરૂઆત કરતા રહેજો. થેન્ક યુ વેરી મચ. મિત્રો, આપણે આજે પાર્ટ 2 ની શરૂઆત કરીએ એ પહેલા મને થયું કે જ્યારે મનુષ્યની જે યાત્રા છે પૃથ્વી પર 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 વર્ષની આપણને ખબર નથી, પણ એક યાત્રા મુસાફર કે વિઝિટર છે પૃથ્વી પર, વિઝિટ કરીને જઈએ છીએ, પાછા આવીએ છીએ કે નથી આવતા એ બધામાં આપણે એની ચર્ચાનો વિષય નથી. પરંતુ ખાસ તો આ જે મુસાફરી છે એમાં બધું જ મેનેજ કરવા માટે, બહારનું વસ્તુ દરેક મેનેજ કરવા માટે આપણને જ્ઞાન નાનપણથી જ આપવામાં આવે છે અને આપણે બધી જ વસ્તુ મેનેજ કરી શકીએ. પરંતુ મને વિચાર્યું કે આપણને મેનેજ કરવું હોય પોતાની જાતને, બહારની વસ્તુ તો મેનેજ કરવાનું આપણે શીખીએ છીએ, પણ પોતાની મેનેજ કરવાનું એટલે પોતાના વિચારો, થોટ્સ, ફિલિંગ્સ, ઇમોશન્સ, એને મેનેજ કરવાનું જ્ઞાન આપણે એને ટૂલ્સ ક્યાંથી મેળવશું? કદાચ મા બાપ આપણે થોડું ઘણું આપે કે આપણને જો કોઈ એવા સદગુરુ કબીર સાહેબ જેવા કે અન્ય ગુરુઓ સદગુરુઓ મળે, ત્યાં તો પછી શ્રીમદ ભગવત જેવા શાસ્ત્રો તરફથી આપણને આપણું સંચાલન કરવાનું જ્ઞાન મળે. અને આપણે પોતાની જાતને જો સંચાલન નહીં કરી શકીએ અને બાકીનું બધી વસ્તુ સંચાલન કરીએ બહારની, તો પછી we are missing the point. We are missing one most important aspect in life that we સાગર તરવામાં જે ચેલેન્જીસ આવશે ત્યારે આપણો પરિચય થાય. at that time આજે પોતાનું સ્વ મેનેજ કરવાનું છે એ આપણને ખબર પડશે કે એ તો મને શીખવવામાં આવ્યું જ નથી. અને that is a opportunity for us to learn how to manage ourselves, how to manage our thoughts, feelings, emotions અને પ્રલોભનો જે બધા આવે તે. તો મિત્રો, શ્રીમદ ભગવદ્ ગીતામાં આપણે અર્જુન અને શ્રી કૃષ્ણના જે સંવાદ છે, પ્રશ્નોત્તરી છે, તો આપણે ઘણું બધું જાણવાનું મળે છે. પરંતુ સૌ ભાઈ બહેનોની કબીર વિઝડમના જે લિસનર્સ છે એમની ખાસ વિનંતી હતી કે ભગવદ્ ગીતાના ચેપ્ટર 14 થી 18 સુધીમાં જે મહત્વની વસ્તુઓ છે તે કોઈ આપણને સમજાવે. તો એના માટે આપણે પાર્ટ 1માં 14 અને 15 ચેપ્ટર પર શ્રીમાન મનીષભાઈ ઈશ્વરભાઈ દેસાઈ, જે મૂળ નલસાડના પણ હોથોર્ન કેલિફોર્નિયામાં રહે છે, એમણે એમના જીવન અનુભવ, from his own experience, what he learned and how he implemented that knowledge, and from whom they learned, and how he kind of overcame some of the challenges in life. So that is what he shared. સો આજે આપણે એ જ કન્ટિન્યુઅસ રાખીએ કે ભાઈ ગુણાતીત વસ્તુ શું છે, રાઇઝિંગ અબાવ ધ ગુણાસ, થ્રી ગુણાસ, એન્ડ ધેન યુ નો ગોઈંગ ફ્રોમ થ્રી ગુણાસ ટુ સુપ્રીમ સરેન્ડર. એટલે એ કેવું કેમ છે, એમણે કેવી રીતે જીવનમાં અપનાવ્યું, what were the challenging he faced in terms of like how to even implementing this thing, and how his transformation happens, that he will share with us. અને એન્ડમાં આપણે એમને માટે થોડા ઘણા જો વ્યક્તિગત પ્રશ્નો હોય તો પૂછીશું, તો we can also, that also can help us, because knowing one thing, knowing all the knowledge is easy, because આખો યુટ્યુબ છે, વોટ્સઅપ છે, બધું સમુદ્રથી આખો મહાસાગર ભરેલો છે જ્ઞાનથી. પણ ઇમ્પ્લિમેન્ટિંગ and overcoming the challenges while implementing, that is the key. અને ત્યારે જ આપણને સૌને જરૂર પડે. તો મિત્રો, ચાલો આપણે આપણો પાર્ટ 2 ની શરૂઆત આગળ ચાલુ રાખીએ. તો હું શ્રીમાન મનીષભાઈને વિનંતી કરીશ કે આવો અને આપણે આગળ વધીએ. રામ કબીર.
Kabir. Thank you, Mama. Thank you, everyone. First of all, my humble pranams to my Guru, who has taught me everything. So everything I'm sharing is all through his blessings and grace. So my humble pranam to each and every one of you. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. So if you have any questions, Mama, you can go ahead. We can continue. We had covered, 14 through 18 in our last session, last discussion, where I had gone over the slide and then Mama started asking questions. So we'll continue with that. So we had covered 14 and 15, like Mama said. So continue 16, 17, 18, and I will answer as best as I can. Thank you.
Okay, very nice. જે આપણે જે 14-15 ચેપ્ટરમાંથી we learn and the importance of understanding the three gunas. અને પછી વાય ઘણીવાર આપણને કેમ ને કે ભાઈ મીઠાઈ હોય, એક આપણે થાળી પીરસીએ તો એમાં ફક્ત સ્વીટ હોય, તો ઇટ્સ નોટ કે ભાઈ આપણે ફક્ત સ્વીટ જ ખાય, બાકીનું બધું નહીં ખાઈએ. તે જ રીતે ગુણા જે સત્વ ગુણ છે એટલું ઇમ્પોર્ટન્ટ છે. તો એવું નથી કે ફક્ત સત્વ ગુણને પકડી રહીએ કે ભાઈ ઓકે ધેટ્સ ધ બેસ્ટ ગુણ એન્ડ ધેન ફર્ગેટ અબાઉટ ધી અધર. ઇટ ડઝન્ટ વર્ક ધેટ વે. એમ તમે સારી રીતે સમજાવેલું. અને how do we start rising above the gunas practically? Then we covered that. પછી most important thing કે આપણે ટ્રી જોઈએ છે પૃથ્વી પર, તો the tree is always like the branches and everything up, and the roots are inside the earth. પણ આ જે ટ્રીની વાત કરી છે તો રિવર્સ, અને પછી then we understood કે what is the reverse tree, ઊંધું વૃક્ષ કેવું છે અને કેવી રીતે, why, what is the meaning behind it. અને સારી રીતે સમજાવેલું કે ભાઈ connecting the roots with the almighty, the supreme, that is why that ઊંધું વૃક્ષ આપણને સમજાવે છે, right?
Yeah.
અને how does the soul's journey reveal divine compassion? That was very, very nice. And what does it mean to know પુરુષોત્તમ? એનું આપણે કવર કરેલું. તો
Yeah.
આજે આપણે આગળ વધીએ કે 16મા ચેપ્ટરમાં જે રિફાઇન, એકચ્યુઅલી એક જ સેન્ટેન્સમાં કે રિફાઇન યોર કેરેક્ટર બેઝિકલી, કારણ કે એ બહુ મહત્વની વસ્તુ છે કે it's very important that when we, to me as a human being, we continue to 30 to 40 years of our life in more or less like a track which we were um, what I call programmed by the school, programmed by the teachers, programmed by parents, programmed by the media, whatever, right? And we become product of that. And then we want to refine by that product ને આપણે improve, in a continuous improvement આપણે કહીએ ને કે the product has to be improved. So that is what the outer world માં કહે. તો આપણે પણ how do we refine our character? Like the character was came up with, and then we were more like a not aware at that time, and then we were in psychic sleep, I call it, So now let's go with, are divine and demonic qualities fixed? કે આપણે જે બધી divine qualities and demonic qualities છે એ બધી fixed હોય કે you can actually change? Manishbhai?
Yeah, great question, Mama. So, chapter 16, as we had discussed, is about divine and deivic qualities. So, these qualities are not fixed. So, divine qualities, could be like compassion, caring, fearlessness, having faith. And demoniac care qualities can be anger, pride, ego, and different things. So, those are not fixed, those are tendencies within us. So, we can actually train ourselves to bring out either one of those. So what we want to do is through satsang, because every day we have a choice. Do we choose humility or pride? Do we choose faith or doubt? So it depends. And then this is something we can learn, we can train our mind. And through satsang and bhakti, we can bring out that, change our consciousness to bring out the devic qualities, the divine qualities within us, and suppress the demoniac qualities, because we have these tendencies within us. And just like the guna, the mind is also colored with gunas. So which comes out is up to us. So thank you.
Yeah, very important. તમે જે વાત કરી, તો I think number one is that we have to be self-aware, અને પછી કબીર સાહેબની જે સાખી છે કે ભાઈ બુરા દેખન મેં ગયા, બુરા ન મિલ્યા કોઈ, જબ આપણી અંદર ઝાંકીએ, અંદર દેખને મેં ગયા, મુझसे बुरा न कोई, એમ જે કહે છે કબીર સાહેબ. તો the same thing, once the awareness comes and self-reflection, self-introspection comes, then we look at those qualities which may not be uh, you know good for us.
Right.
I think you say rightly, because once the awareness comes, then how do I bring those divine qualities within me? Okay, that starts. And okay, see, last time we talked about, if somebody gives you a couple of acres of land behind your house, and if you don't do anything, lot of wildflower, wild grass, wild
Yes.
junk, kind of, we call it, weeds will grow. You don't
Yes.
need to do anything. But if you want to make a beautiful garden, you will have to work hard with clarity, purpose, hard work, and then you can have a beautiful garden. And for having the junk stuff, you don't need to do anything. So I think the same thing, demonic qualities will grow because of the influence by the media,
Maya.
the news, whatever it is. It's very easy. But to cultivate the divine qualities, we need to work, and because that's where the most important. So I'm glad that you talked about that. Now, another thing is, like, destructive qualities ની વાત કરીએ, like lust, anger is probably one of the worst thing, and greed. Every other day in the news we see the the greed of the people. What they say is that we have enough to feed every human being on planet Earth, but we don't have enough to feed the greed of humans on planet Earth. So, uh, how do we actually, you know, um, manage these destructive qualities? What do you think, and how did you overcome, if you had any of these doubt or other stuff came in your life?
Yeah, these questions, Mama, the lust, anger, greed, or we have heard in the Gita, right? That Kama, Krodh, Lobh, Nark ki sidi hai hai. So you want to avoid these. So anger, lust, and greed, these are also part of the Maya. They're generals of Maya. So there is a beautiful diagram kind of format that says, like, if you contemplate happiness, it leads to attachment. The attachment can lead to desire. Desire is lust. When the desire gets fulfilled, it can lead to greed, because you want more and more and more. So it's like putting ghee on the fire. Even eventually you'll subside. You think it's going down, but eventually you'll blow up even more. And then anything that get distracted, or if the unfulfillment desire doesn't get fulfilled, then that leads us to anger. And both of these are, all of these lead to downfall of the soul. So it leads to our downfall. So we want to try to avoid these. And how do we try to avoid this? We try to avoid this by dovetailing it towards the divine. So dovetailing it towards, towards God, towards divine, towards satsang, towards bhakti, towards getting the right knowledge. So and avoiding, like you said, the garden of mind. How do we cultivate our garden of mind? Do we cultivate it by good thoughts, or do we cultivate it with, weeds, or watching news and negative thoughts? So that's important.
Right, yeah. So what the computer say, the garbage in, garbage out, good stuff
Mm-hmm.
in, good stuff out.
Yeah.
તેની જેમ જ આપણે માઇન્ડને આપણે if you want to cultivate a beautiful garden within the mind, when you say this beautifully said, and then we have to work on ourselves, because the transformation from within, it starts with the awareness, and then good clarity, intentions, whatever we want to call it. And then when you say that you're a continuous satsang, what you are inputting, આપણે જે રીતે આજે when we want to manage our weight, manage our physical fitness, we always talk about, hey, what are you putting in your mouth, right?
Right.
Because
Got it.
eventually it's going to go in the stomach, and the food is going to transform into the body. um, so if it is that important, then same thing which is in our mind, what kind of input we are allowing in the mind, because that is what is going to grow. જે ગુજરાતીમાં કહીએ અમે કે ભાઈ જેવું વાવો તેવું લણો, means you are going to kind of you know get the crop, final crop, based on what your seeds you planted. કબીર સાહેબ કહી શકે એની જગ્યાએ કે ભાઈ તું બાવળનું વૃક્ષ વાવે and then you hope કે એના પર કેરી આવે. Well, that's not going to happen. So you very well said, yes, all these destructive qualities which are basically unconsciously getting programmed because we allow input without filtering, without prioritizing ourselves. Am I correct? Right?
Yeah. Right.
And that's what that filtration has to happen. Anything. કે આપણે ઘણી વાર એમ કહે ને મનીષભાઈ કે આપણે ઘરમાં જો આપણે કોઈ માણસ આવે અને કે આપણા વાડામાં કચરો નાખે neighbor, then we get upset, and
Yeah.
then we call the cops and whatever. But if somebody comes and they throw trash thoughts or bad thoughts in our mind, we don't call cops and nobody, we just simply allow that. you know so that is that level of awareness we need, that am I allowing other people to program or throw uh, unnecessary thoughts and unnecessary stuff in my head, which is, I think, is very, very important. તમે કીધું કે ભાઈ, through the satsang, through the bhakti, connecting completely with the divine, you know, and connection with divine. It's not like a, okay, once in a like 2 minutes a day or prayer and then you forget about it. No, it has to be maximizing, and that's for that you have to be aware, because we get 1440 minutes. So how many minutes we could be connected with the Supreme? So that way we continuously keep kind of washing our programming and filtering our programming, and so that we our pureness, purity comes within, right?
Yeah, that was a very good example, Mama, because that is true, because we wouldn't allow garbage to, somebody to put garbage in our house or even in the area, but we allow, garbage to go in our mind. We use negative, environment, negative factors. So that's what impacts our, the inner self, which impacts our attitude, our behavior, everything. So it's very important that we cultivate this the right way. Thank you.
Right. And it's it's extremely important. You know, once you become like we are aware of it, there then we are so careful about putting the kind of food we
Yes.
put in our mouth. The same thing, this also, and that level of awareness we have to keep it. So, we will continue with that. Then, um, how does the faith protect us in this whole thing?
So faith is very important, Shraddha, Vishwas. Faith is very important because it anchors that intellect. If we don't have the faith and that doubt creeps in, then the mind will take over. So if you can anchor the intellect, we can look at the example because faith is the belief. So if we look at the example of the trust, in the Bhagavad Gita, while Vedvyas gave divine drasti, divine vision to Sanjay. Sanjay, who he was narrating everything that Krishna was saying to Arjun, so he was telling Dhritarashtra. And Dhritarashtra was always questioning and doubting, saying, about Krishna. Krishna is Mayavi, Krishna is this. And he's trying to delude Arjun's intellect. He's trying to confuse Arjun. Arjun doesn't want to fight, so why is he trying to do this and this? But Dhritarashtra never, even after seeing the divine form of God, when Krishna showed the form, he saw the form. Sanjay described it to him, but he still didn't believe because he had that doubt. So faith is important. Otherwise, you can have, without faith, it can lead to detriment.
રાઈટ જે મનીષભાઈ કીધું કે શ્રદ્ધા બહુ જ મહત્વની વસ્તુ છે એમ. અને એ ફેથ જો હશે આપણી તો આજે કારણ કે ઘણીવાર એમ થાય ને કે આપણે જ્યારે અમેરિકા જેવા દેશ છે કે સ્વિટ્ઝરલેન્ડ છે કે કોઈ પણ સારા જાપાન છે કે એવી કન્ટ્રીમાં જઈએ અને પછી ભારતમાં જઈએ તો ઘણીવાર એમ થાય કે ભારતને નું આખું સંચાલન કેવી રીતે ચાલે છે, હાઉ આર પીપલ આર લિવિંગ એમ. પરંતુ જોઈએ છે કે એનો આને પણ પછી અંતમાં બધા એમ જ કહે કે ભગવાન જ આને ચલવે છે એમ કે દેશને, ભારતના દેશને. તો સેમ થિંગ કે આ જે શ્રદ્ધાનો વિષય છે and once you have that શ્રદ્ધા અને faith અને faithથી જ પછી કારણ કે આપણે જે we are going to be crossing the bridge from three gunas to the complete surrender, supreme surrender, let's put it this way. So supreme surrender માટે, okay, that is what Arjun had to do. Arjun was always in why and how, lost in those questions, correct?
Yeah.
And Krishna trying to explain. Same thing તમે જે કહ્યું કે Dhritarashtra, he was a king, but he could not see, and he could see Krishna as just another human with an agenda and not
Yeah.
a supreme reality. એ શ્રદ્ધા આવી જ નહીં એનામાં. And because of that, eventually the whole thing got destroyed. So, and then he had that attachment for his son to be the king, and the regret of like, injustice to me, you know, because of he was blind. So anyway,
Right.
we don't want to go into that part of it, but
Yeah.
what we want to talk about is develop that faith in whoever it is, Sri Krishna or whatever, you know, develop that faith, and that faith will start purifying you. And then you can also purify the faith together. So it's very nicely, do you want to add anything into the chapter 16th before we move to chapter 17th?
No, it's just that, if we have that faith in the scriptures, the saints, like Kabir wisdom, Kabir dohas, then it helps us through that difficulty. Whatever comes in life, if we have that faith, that viswas, shraddha, then that'll help us to get through anything in life, no matter what the circumstances, whatever is thrown at us. Because, things come by our own karmas from our past life, so we don't know why things are happening, but we just have to learn to deal with it. And when we have that faith in scripture, saints, God, then it becomes that much easier to deal with it. I think that's important.
Right. It very well said, because of the our journey was, let's say, what we receive
Right.
uh, is based on our past karmas, right? And then and then when the challenges come, when the good thing comes, when the good stuff comes in, we always try to say because of me, because of my hard work. And when the bad or unwanted things happen, then we blame some other people or something. But we need to be kind of, to me, like equal, that hey, the bad stuff came because of the result of my past decisions, priorities, work. Same way, the unwanted stuff came because of my plan, my past karmas, which I may have done in ignorance. And I mean, I don't remember those things. You know. So I think if we look at that from both, and then also like, what is that unwanted stuff arrives in my life, and what is that teaching us? Because everything comes in life, human or event, to teach us.
Yeah,
So once we change that perspective, right?
absolutely.
you know and that is how I think, and we look at it, that how can I make this as a stepping stone to and learn from this event, and kind of grow and purify my faith, or make the faith so strong that I can overcome the challenge. Am I correct?
Yes, and whatever, everything that comes to us is a learning opportunity, learning lesson. And that, let's say if you have anger issues, then God is going to bring somebody to make you angry. He's going to test and test and test until we overcome that or gets reduced. Different situations will keep coming where it'll make you angry. So yeah, until we learn the lesson, it'll just keep coming, coming, coming in different forms.
Right, very well said. That until we completely resolve, we accept and work on to resolve.
Yeah,
Until then, the test will keep coming, or the universe will keep sending you things to, uh, to make you aware that it still exists in you. So
right.
very well said. So, હવે આપણે, let's move to the chapter 17, the threefold division of faith, right? Okay, how do
Right.
we purify our faith? So, how does faith shape our destiny?
So we learned that just like the gunas, there's also different faith. There's the sattvic faith, there's the rajasic faith, there's the tamasic faith. So depending on which faith, that's how. So faith is basically shapes our destiny. It's our belief system. So our belief system is what it keeps, it makes our future. So it's important to have that faith. So if we have faith in the, just material world or materialistic, then it leads to ego detachment. But if we have that faith in the divine, in saints, guru, in the knowledge, true knowledge, then that becomes an offering. So I think the faith is important. We want to have that sattvic faith, which can also then turn into, the divine faith, which is take us to gunatit. And that is our goal, to reach God and liberation, bhakti, right? So,
Right. So, as you said, the faith in the supreme, because see, that's what I think is very, very important, because um, otherwise the ego will get kind of, you know, stronger within us if we are not have a sattvic faith in the supreme, you know, and and then, because to me, Manishbhai, I always think that when we eat food
mm,
and we forget, now, which power and which mechanism is taking that, you know, raw food or cooked food or whatever it is,
right.
and digesting it, analyzing it, and remove all the unwanted things, convert that into energy, purify the blood, and keep this so-called the machine, the human machine running 24 hours until, you know, uh, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 years. Now, that power, we have no idea. We just take it for granted.
Yes.
But when we look at it, that yes, there is something, a power. My job is just to put the food from the plate in my mouth and chew and be happy and merry, and then we don't even worry about how that whole process is converting into good stuff and remove the bad stuff. I mean, unwanted stuff. Let's put it this way. And that mechanism is every day. We can eat 3 times, 4 times, 2 times, whatever it's up to human being
Yes.
and what kind of food you put in. But normally, after that, nothing happens. So that itself should build our faith in that power. That if that power is converting all these things into good energy, basically, or depends on what you eat, and not so good energy. Um, so that faith of having all of that same faith applying in other one, once we, other aspect of life. Am I correct?
Yeah, and you talked about the Jataragni, right? The fire
Right.
burning within us. There's a little fire burning within us, which burns the food and turns it into blood, the bones, everything. So it keeps it all functioning. This is the energy of God that's doing that. But we don't see it that way. We don't even go to that aspect, but we take that for granted. But it's happening. Every day the food is turned into, energy for us to live. So he's doing all that through his energy. So it's very important.
Right. Yeah. And other thing is, like, let's say air on earth,
Hmm.
and like what I breathe in could be the breath you expel. So that breath goes in me. When whatever I expel, my, it can go into your body. So with that level, is that energy is like 8.2 billion people on planet Earth breathe same air. One person take that air and then expel. Another person take the exhalation of the same air into his body or her body, and then, you know, and that whole mechanism continues. So that is how I think at least that level we are connected. So that faith of that, we never we never question that. Oh, I'm going to run out of the air.
Right,
When we wake up, when we go to sleep, the air keeps, is there, right? Air is there.
right.
We never question. Oh, within 5 minutes, okay, what happens if the air goes, if there is no air available to me? No, it's always there. So I think the faith, the supreme presence is always there. That's what I wanted to kind of connect the bridge, you know. So, very, let's continue with another thing is, what is the, why is the, let's say, mm, why is intention more important than action?
I think this is a very good question, Mama. The intention is very important because intention matters. So intention is our thought. So let's say, let's say somebody is visiting us. Then, we are like, they come when we're having lunch or something, then it's okay. You're thinking, "Oh, this nuisance, he's coming when I'm about to eat or this, that, but you don't broadcast that. This is in your inside thought. But when the person comes and you said, oh, how you're, come in, please, but then, so the outside world, the world looks at the outside. They cannot see inside. But God, he looks at the inside. So the inside, what you're thinking, your thoughts, your not the action, but the thoughts, even those what matters. So if let's say let's say you're a party Democrat and a Republican Party person comes, and we put, so you greet them and you put flower garland, but you're thinking, this is a Republican, I'm a Democratic supporter, I should put, shoes, uh, um, manmala of shoes, and instead of flowers. But you put the flower, but you're thinking that about shoes. So God says, okay, you gave him a shoes mala and not the flower mala. He said, no, no, I gave flower mala. But then God says, you thought about putting shoes mala or shoes full of, so garland. So that is what's going down in the karma. It's not what you put outside. So I think intention is very important. Another example I'll give is, there was I think people were terrorists in India. I think they were planning something when the police got wind of it, and they had not done anything. They were just planning it. So the police got aware of the intention, so they arrested them, and they put them in jail. They said we never did anything. I said, yeah, you didn't do anything, but your intention was to cause harm and destruction. So that's why you're in jail. So I think that's why intention matters. Also, intention matters in terms of Rajasic, Tamasic, and Sattvic, because if it's done for fame, that's Rajasic. If it's done out of carelessness, that's Tamasic. And if it's done as an offering or for God or Guru or divine, for learning, true learning, then that's Sattvic. So it's important to have that intention, the correct intention. It really matters because that's the heart of spirituality.
રાઈટ વેરી વેલ સેડ મનીષભાઈ. હું ગુજરાતીમાં કેવું થાય ફક્ત ઇન્ટેન્શન્સ કે આપણો જે ઈરાદો કે આપણે તો એ કયો ઈરાદાથી આપણે જતા છે.
Yeah.
ઇવન આપણે કોઈ મંદિરે જઈએ તો કયા ઈરાદાથી જતા છે. આર વી ગોઈંગ ટુ આસ્ક ફોર like you know um, to the mandir with let's say we uh, think that the God is residing in the temple, and then are we asking? Are we like going and begging for certain material thing, or what intentions we go, right? આપણે કયા ઈરાદાથી જતા છે. એટલા માટે ઇવન દરેક તમે જે દાખલો આપ્યો કે કયા વ્યક્તિ આપણા ઘરે આવે છે, and once you judge that character or the belief of that person, and then externally we do one thing, પણ within that આપણી અંદર જે ઈરાદો કે ઇન્ટેન્શન્સ કે સ્વભાવ કે inner dialogue which is happening, which is not doesn't match with our action, after action. So inner
Yeah.
thoughts, inner feeling, inner emotions, and outer action has to be matching completely. Am I correct? Right?
Yes. Yes.
Right. And that's why the intentions છે આપણા ઈરાદા છે એ બહુ મહત્વના છે કે ભાઈ આપણે કયા ઈરાદાથી આપણે કોઈ પણ ઇવન કોઈને ત્યાં પણ જઈએ કે કોઈ પ્રસંગમાં જઈએ તો આપણા ઈરાદા એકદમ પ્યોર, ઇન્ટેન્શન શુડ બી પ્યોર. અને કોઈ પણ કાર્યની શરૂઆત કરીએ, even if you are small meeting, our intentions have to be clear and conscious and pure. અને એ જ આઈ થિંક દેટ ઇઝ વોટ મનીષભાઈ ઇઝ સેઇંગ. અને આપણે જોવાનું છે કે ભાઈ મારું એક એક્સટર્નલ બિહેવિયર છે, એક્શન હું લેવું છું, અને મારા ઇન્ટેન્શન્સ એ મેચ થતા છે કે નથી. અને એ અવેરનેસ હોવી બહુ મહત્વની વસ્તુ છે. અને તો શું થશે કે then every step you walk, your intentions and actions are matching, and that is how the peace and love arrives in us. કારણ કે ઘણી વાર શું થાય મનીષભાઈ કે આપણે જે વાઇબ્રેશન છે, intentions are nothing but eventually it
Yeah.
vibrates.
Energy.
And when it vibrates, that's why when we sit with a guru who have really living with a higher consciousness, you feel just peace sitting next to
Yeah.
them, because their intentions are, they are vibrating with pure intentions, let's put it this way. So you feel, you experience that. અને આપણે પણ એ જ જોવાનું કે ભાઈ how can I purify, how can I, my intentions are so pure, my vibrations will be higher, vibrating at higher consciousness. So not only I feel peaceful, but other people around me also feel peaceful. And I think that's why focusing on intentions are extremely important, because you are raising your awareness, and vibrations as human being who is vibrating with a higher consciousness, right? So then we go, another thing is um, what is the deeper meaning? What is the deeper meaning of Om Tat Sat? આપણે કહીએ ઘણી વાર Om Tat Sat.
Yeah.
So, mhm.
Yeah, I mean, we say the Om word, Om, right? Om is this Akshar Brahma. So Om is this veritable form of God. So Om is actually the source, which is God himself. So he's the one who created this world. Tat is this is for him. And Sat is the truth, Satya. So everything that's with truth and pure intention, that's Sat. So Om Tat Sat is that God who's true and pure, and everything that we do is for him, is what we should be doing. So that's Om Tat Sat.
હા ઓમ તત્ સત એ તો કે ભાઈ સત એટલે the truth, the
Yeah,
ultimate truth, ultimate truth શું છે કે પરમ સત્ય શું છે, એક આપણે જે ગુજરાતીમાં કહીએ. કારણ કે ઘણીવાર આપણે ફેક્ચ્યુઅલ સત્ય એ દુનિયાદારીનું છે, which is the worldly affair of, like somebody asked, okay, Mount Everest is 29,345 feet, from the sea level. That's a fact. એ સત્ય છે, but એ સંસારિક સત્ય છે. What you are talking about is the param satya, the truth, right? અને
right.
અને તત એટલે તે, આ પરમ સત્ય. અને ઓમ, of course, તમે universal energy, vibrations, whatever you call, એ રીતે આપણે એનું સમજીએ તો એક ઓમ તત્સત બોલતી વખતે પણ આપણે શું કહીએ, વાઇબ્રેશન આપણા વાઇબ્રેટ થવા જોઈએ, કે વી આર વાઇબ્રેટિંગ એટ ધેટ લેવલ. એટલે આઈ થિંક એકાદ વખત અમે મંત્ર અને સાઉન્ડ પર અમે કબીર વિઝડમમાં વાત કરેલી, તો સાઉન્ડ ઇટ સેલ્ફ આર ધ વાઇબ્રેશન્સ, એન્ડ દે વાઇબ્રેટ એટ સર્ટન ફ્રીક્વન્સી. અને એટલા માટે આપણા જે સર્ટન મંત્રો છે એ બહુ મહત્વના છે, બીકોઝ ઇટ રેઝીઝ અવર frequency, and we start vibrating at much higher level, and that is how our inner purification start happening. એટલે એ
Yeah,
આ અને again, that is what the simultaneous journey of external world management and the inner management of ourselves. Does it make sense, right?
yeah, and understanding this Om Tat Sat, if we can understand it, it actually also transforms any of our ordinary action into another offering or spiritual practice. So again, leading to our purity of our mind, helping us to purify the mind, that which will allow us to have that intention, which will be inner and match with the action as well. So when we reach that complete pureness, that's what we can reach that level. So
Right.
it's a
Yeah, it's very good. ને આમાં શું કે પછી દરેક મિત્રોને યાદ કરાવું કે આ જે જર્ની છે, it's an individual journey. The
yeah,
world is not going to get transformed, uh, you know, uh, completely, as a world, as a large amount of people. One individual will have to, purify themselves. That's the only thing you
yes,
can do. I can purify only my inner within me. Nothing else I can do beyond that. Because of my purification, if somebody get inspired and also purify themselves, that's the bonus. But not necessarily that's what's going to happen. The whole thing is that how can I continuously purify myself within? So very nicely said. તો આપણે હવે 18મા ચેપ્ટર પર જઈએ. તો what is, because question is renunciation. So એક that's a big word. Everywhere, in every language you go, within go London, South Africa, Australia, Japan, they will talk about it. So what it is, what is the true renunciation?
so renunciation is not, it's not just giving up work or action. It's actually giving up that ego. Ego is ego is the first thing to come, last one to go. So that is very difficult. But so you can be in the forest and thinking about, be still. You say you are not, you have left the world, but but you're still thinking about it. Then you're not truly renounced. You haven't really detached yourself. But you could be in the society and still be thinking about doing God's work, doing, then you are detached. You're not attached to anything. You're detached. If you're detached, then that's true renunciation, which is giving up that results. That's the true detachment, and not getting attached to outcomes or the results, and being detached and letting go of that ego and ahankar. So that's what true, it's the true detachment, which is true tyag. So that's what renunciation is.
બહુ સરસ રીતે તમે વાત કરી કે ભાઈ આપણે ગુજરાતીમાં કહીએ તો અકર્મી નથી બની જવાનું. આપણે કોઈ કર્મ છોડી નથી દેવાના.
Yeah.
એનો ખાલી જે એમણે કીધું કે ભાઈ આઉટકમ છે. આપણે જે ભગવદ્ ગીતામાં કહે છે ને કે કર્મણી એવા અધિકાર હસ્તે માં ફલેશું કદાચ એમ કે હા કર્મ પર તારો અધિકાર છે પણ ફળ પર તારો અધિકાર નથી. અને દેટ ઇઝ સો ઇમ્પોર્ટન્ટ કારણ કે અત્યારે છે હું આ બધી ફૂટબોલની ગેમ છે બધા જે કોચિસ હોય કે કોઈ બેઠો હોય પછી આ ફૂટબોલની ગેમ કે બાસ્કેટબોલ કે વોટ એવર સ્પોર્ટ્સની આપણે એક એક્ઝામ્પલ લઈએ તો કોચ ઇઝ ઓલવેઝ focus and master the process. Don't keep an eye on the outcome. If the process, if you master the outcome, chances will that outcome will fall. Outcome, you will achieve the outcome. So the process, your focus should be on the how nicely, energetically,
Yeah.
and skillfully I can process all the action. આ લોકો એવી રીતે જ શીખવે છે એમ. તો સેમ થિંગ તમે જે કીધું કે આપણે એક્શન પર આધાર રાખીએ, પ્યોરિટી ઓફ ધી એક્શન, પ્યોરિટી ઓફ ધી ઇન્ટેન્શન્સ, અને એક આપણે નિમિત્ત માત્ર છે જે ગુજરાતીમાં કહીએ ને કેમ દેટ ઇઝ વોટ યુ આર ટેલિંગ કે ભાઈ નિમિત્ત છે આપણે, પણ ધી અકર્તા ભાવ એને બીજી રીતે કહી, કરતા કોઈ છે બીજું, મારી અંદર અકર્તા ભાવ છે અને કરતા કોઈ એક સુપ્રીમ એનર્જી છે, એ આપણે લાવીએ તો એ ડિટેચમેન્ટનો જે આપણે છે કે આપણે બધું કંઈ છોડીને કહે છે દેટ્સ વોટ અર્જુનને જ શીખવામાં કહેતા હતા ને કે તું જંગલમાં ભાગી જશે ને ઝાડ નીચે બેસીને ધ્યાન કરશે, દેટ્સ નોટ ગોન વર્ક. તારે કર્મ કરવાના છે પણ ડિટેચ થઈને કર્મ કરવાના છે, તું ફક્ત નિમિત્ત છે. અને આઈ થિંક દેટ ઇઝ એનાથી બિયોન્ડ તો આપણે કેટલું શીખવી શકીએ. Nicely you said, and I think this is what we continuously keep reminding ourselves કે આપણે એક
Yeah.
નિમિત્ત માત્ર છે, ઇન્સ્ટ્રુમેન્ટ ઓફ ધ ડિવાઇન શક્તિ. અને that is what I think continuously remember કરીએ તો ધીરે ધીરે જે સુપ્રીમ સરેન્ડર તરફ જતા છે, that's what will happen. If you want to add anything before we go further.
No, that Bhagavad Gita 2.47 is perfect. Karmanyavadikaraste, that do your action, you don't have right to the results. The results are for God. And it's based on our karma. So it's very good. Yeah.
The results are also, basically based on multi factor in the
Yes.
planet Earth. So many other factors plays role in that outcome. But
Mhm.
the most important factor you can control is your action.
Yes.
The other factors are like, influenced by and controlled by so many other factors in the, in the world. So yeah, let's go with the why is performing one's own duty important?
So this is, you kind of touched upon this already in the terms of Arjun, right? This is very important because God has chosen all of us for certain growth. So he's given us circumstances in our life for growth. So running from responsibility, it does not lead to peace. We have to, so Arjun, when he saw that his Bhishma Pitama, Dronacharya, he saw all that, he got confused. And he said, I don't want to fight. I want to go to the forest and become a sannyasi and live that way. And Krishna says, no, Arjun, you have to do your karma. You are a Kshatriya. And even if you go to the forest, if you run away, you're going to take the beels and turn them into, you make a little kingdom out there. So this is your tendency. This is your karma. So you cannot run away. So it's important for us to same thing. We cannot run away from our duty. So it's better to perform our own duty as best as we can rather than looking at other people or comparing to others. So we have that role, we have that caretaker role of being parents, being in the society, being friends, being, so we have different roles that God has placed us in. And every place, everything He sends us circumstances, things to learn from so that we can grow and continue on this journey and one day reach that high goal of, liberation, bhakti, divine love. People look at it differently. So, yeah,
Right.
thank you.
No, very nicely said. Okay, action. See, I will just add that your pleasure should come from the action itself,
Yes,
not from the outcome. Outcome is just a reward, but your main reward is in the action. And while you are taking the action, basically, આપણા મધર કેમ ઘણીવાર બાળકોને રસોઈ બનાવે બાળકો માટે, so they're so happy. So that happiness is while cooking. Let's put it this way. A very simple example. Um, and that is how every action આપણે કરીએ તે એટલી joyfully, peacefully, lovingly કરવી જોઈએ કે I am, કબીર સાહેબ એમ કહે છે કે સો કરવો પૂજા. Every action I do is like a puja no bhava under હોય.
yes,
So when you have puja no bhava, you are so peaceful and loving. So it doesn't matter what action you are doing, it's the intentions of within that action and the joy with and the love you enter before you start the action and continuously. આપણે કે ઘણી વાર આપણે વેટ ઉતારવા માટે કામ કરીએ બીકોઝ મારે જ કેમ કરવું પડે, મારે જ બધે બીજા બધા કોણ છે, મારે જ કેમ કરવું. See, change that to so કરવો પૂજા, and that's a continuous reminder to ourselves. So then you can just shift at 180 degree rather than મારે જ કેમ કરવું પડે. Hey, I lovingly I am doing it, then the definitely the pleasure and the joy will come into that. And the last is, what is the essence of Krishna's final message?
So the essence of Krishna's final message, that's chapter 18, is, divine love, to cultivate that divine love. So he says at the end, abandon all varieties of dharma and just surrender to me. Surrender unto me, remember me. So like, this is a promise from God that he'll free us from sin. He'll free us from eternal shelter. So sarva dharman paritajye mamekam sharanam braja amtyam sarva papejyo mokshashami mashuchaha. So he says this in terms of I'll give an example. Like let's say a little child is playing in the dirt, kichirma, and then he gets all dirty from everything, comes running, crying to the mother. The mother takes him and showers him and washes all the kichir dirt off of him and purifies him. Similarly, God says, no matter what, if you surrender to me, I will burn all your sins. I'll purify you. So that is the essence of the Gita. That is the essence of the message of chapter 18 and the Gita. And that's why Krishna says at the end, that surrender to me, forget everything, just surrender to me. So that's what Arjuna does at the end. Yeah.
Very nice, very nicely said. બધું સર્વધર્મ પરિત્યજ્ય મામેકુમ શરણમ વજ્ય, તું આવી જા બસ
Yeah.
મારી શરણમાં. Then it is my responsibility. See, આપણે ઘણી વાર કેમ ને અત્યારે બધા આપણે રિસ્પોન્સિબિલિટી ઘણી વાર આમ રિસ્પોન્સિબલ ફોર અધર પીપલ રિસ્પોન્સિબલ, અને એમાં બધા ઝોલા ખાયા કરીએ એમ. પણ જો આપણે સુપ્રીમને સરેન્ડર કરીએ, રાઈટ, અને બધી જ વસ્તુ આપણું જે ઇનર અવેરનેસ એટલી બધી હોય કે હું અકર્તા ભાવની અંદર બધા કાર્ય કરીશ. ડિટેચ મેન કોઈની સાથે અટેચ થઈ નહીં પણ ડિટેચમેન્ટ સાથે બધા કાર્ય કરીશ. પણ તું જોયફુલી, પીસફુલી, લવિંગલી, વોટ એવર યુ ધ વર્ડ યુ વોન્ટ ટુ સે, with that intentions and attitude આપણે કરીએ તો પછી શું ના કે and then you surrender to તમે જે કહે ને કે supreme surrender to that energy, that power, whatever we believe in that is how human journey will be purified. And to me, you live such a vibrant and alive life and not like a person who is kind of tired with the burden of responsibility of planet Earth. And that is what I think the most important thing. Very well said, Manishbhai. I'm so kind of proud. I'm lucky that we are having such a wonderful conversation with you. And I wish more and more young people like you come and share their life journey, um, on the Kabir wisdom, and then we could kind of, let's just help each other bring more awareness and live with the higher consciousness. Final words, or anybody has any questions, friends,
Yeah,
or
Mom, I'll just add that, even at the end, after telling Arjun the Gita, he tells him at the end, he gives that, we have that free will. So even then at the end, he says, Arjun, I have explained to you all this. Now you choose and do as you wish. He doesn't say, do this, do this. He gives them that last option. So it is still Arjun's choice. So similarly, we have that choice as well. So free will.
good, very good. તો આપણે દીપકભાઈનો ક્વિક ક્વેશ્ચન હશે તે લઈએ.
Ram Kabir Saune.
Mhm.
Kabir.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can
Yes.
hear you.
Thank you. Thank you. Ram Kabir. But tomorrow question, intention versus action. It's an individual journey. Mumbai janmelo taj modo thayelo sir. Born and grew up in Mumbai. And somehow I come here in the US, and then later on you cover, you can perform our duty. So there is also patriotic duty.
Yeah.
So once I've been to patriotic duty, I serve as the election inspector. That the more example of the flower versus shush.
Yeah, the garland.
So what I learned during that political process, when there's a doubt, you give the other party the benefit. So if I'm winning, but some I'm out, then I gave it to the opposite person who is fighting against me. And that's how we empower it. And that is very well written on this. I'm about to show you that. And my background, I served as election inspector, and that day I worked 24 hours. Jagrutta bhi ek baat aave ke Jagrutta mein 24 hours, even you don't blink it.
Yeah.
The focus is on how the ballots are there, how they are counted. Earlier, they used to be a machine. If you go back like 25 years, it's called hanging chair. Florida will become very big issue for several months. So this is in 2002. Like after 2 years, there was similar situation, and I had to work to make sure that like everybody gets through a right process. That you just perform our duty, and I had to do it over 24 hours. Where 4 people were appointed that time to see how the process is going. And I'm not sure can you read it or not, but that's like empowering a democracy. So we get a thought, and we can work on a thought. Any doubt? We don't wait till like I'm in Texas. It's sunny over here. I don't tell it's a night. So you don't wait till that point. That's the only process which we fight in. We don't fight with a human, not on our the facting, but we fight on the thoughts only. And that was very well written. And I went through big battery from Secretary of the State because it's an individual journey. Where I come from, I have like George Lagaga Chilo did came in Kabirism, and Vasudhara Kutimbekam. So I had that kind of philosophy. And social democracy is the Indian democracy. American democracy is a capital democracy. So there is an idea that collided. And that's where this thing came up. I had to face a big battery from Secretary of the State. But going back, it's with fight on thoughts, not on humiliating other person. And that remain to the person who fighting, we give them a benefit doubt. That was I learned it. Okay, Ram Kabir. Ram Kabir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
very good. Thank you, Deepak.
Anybody else has anything? નહીં તો હું એક પેલી નાની સ્ટોરી કહી દેમ. તમે જે વાત કરી ને કે અંતમાં in the end, even Krishna doesn't tell Arjun, do this. It gives him a choice, like you do it. After, okay, ગોવિંદભાઈનો છે તો ગોવિંદભાઈનો પછી હું એન્ડમાં સ્ટોરી કહી દઈશ. ઓકે ગોવિંદજી, ક્વિકલી આવીને.
રામ કબીર.
રામ કબીર.
મનીષભાઈ ખૂબ સુંદર વાત કરી અને બહુ સરસ એજ્યુકેશન આપ્યું. અને તે 16-17-18 3 અધ્યાયનું આજે આપણે ચિંતન મનન કર્યું. દેવાસુર પદ વિભાગ, દૈવ અને અસુર, એ આપણો 16મો અધ્યાય. 17મો અધ્યાય શ્રદ્ધાત્રય અને 18મો મોક્ષ સંન્યાસીઓ.
મોક્ષ સંન્યાસીઓ.
એ ત્રણેયનો સમન્વય કરીને જો છેલ્લે કૃષ્ણ શું કહે છે, કૃષ્ણની સંજય શું કહે છે કે જ્યાં ધનુર્ધારી અર્જુન અને યોગેશ્વર કૃષ્ણ હોય ત્યાં સર્વસ્વ મળે. સર્વસ્વ ત્યાં છે, બધું જ ફૂલફિલ થાય. એટલે અર્જુન એ આપણે બધા અર્જુન છીએ, શોધી રહેલા છે બધું, પણ એમાં કૃષ્ણને આપણે હંમેશા સાથે રાખવું પડે. જો આપણી સાથે હંમેશ કૃષ્ણ હોય તો આ દૈવી અને અસુર એ બે જે આપણને અસુર તત્વો છે, જે આપણને હંમેશા દૈવીમાં આપણને આજ પૂછે કે નિર્ભયતા, અંતઃકરણની નિર્ભરતા, જ્ઞાન, યોગને વિશે નિષ્ઠા, દાન, ઇન્દ્રિયોનું દમન, ત્યાગ, શાંતિ, નિંદા નહીં કરવી, દયાલુતા, મૃદુતા, દુરાચારની લજ્જા, અચંચળતા, આવા 26 ગુણો બતાવ્યા છે જે સંપત વિભાગના, અને તે છે સત્વ સાથે સંકળાયેલા. સત્વ, રજસ અને તમસ, એમાં સત્વ આ ગુણો છે. એટલે આપણામાં જે સત્વ ગુણો વધતા જાય તો આ દૈવી શક્તિ આપણને મળતી જાય. તો એ ક્યાંથી મળે? તો અર્જુનની સાથે આપણે જો અર્જુન જેવા વિનમ્ર અને એના જેવા સોફ્ટ કૃષ્ણને જો અર્પણ કરીએ તો પછી કૃષ્ણની સાથે આપણે બધા કાયમનું રહીએ તો ત્યાં ઐશ્વર્ય હંમેશા રહેવાનું છે. એ અંતમાં આપણને ગેરંટી આપી છે કે ઐશ્વર્ય બધું જ તમને જે મળવાનું છે, આ જો આપણને અર્જુન અને કૃષ્ણની જો આપણી સાથે હોય તો. અને આપણે જો એક એ મેળવવું હોય તો ડે 1થી કર્મ શું કરીએ છીએ, કર્મ, અકર્મ, વિકર્મ ડિસ્ટિંગ્વિશ કરતા જઈએ. આપણને એવરી પડે, ઉઠીએ ત્યાંથી સૂએ ત્યાં સુધી રાત્રે આપણને દરેક સ્ટેપ પર જન્મે ત્યાંથી, હું તો એવું કહું છું કે આપણને ખબર પડે કે આ મારે કરવાનું છે, હું આ કરી રહેલો છું, બરાબર છું, ના આ મને જરા પજવી ગયેલું છે, આ નહીં કરાય, ક્યાંથી અટકવાનું છે. અને સર્વશ્રેષ્ઠ વસ્તુ તો એ છે કે તમારી સામે જે પ્રલોભન આવ્યા છે, મોટા મોટા પ્રલોભનો, કે જેમાં તમે બાહ્ય ભૌતિક રીતે ખૂબ આગળ વધી જાઓ એવી તમને ઓફરો છે, એવું તમને મળી રહેલું છે, પણ એ જે મળે છે એ તમને લીગલ લાગતું નથી. અને એનો જો તમે વિરોધ કરી શકો અને વિરોધથી તમે તમારું સત્વ જાળવી રાખીએ તો એવા પ્રસંગો આપણને બરાબર ઘડે છે. અને પછી તમે નાના મોટા પ્રસંગોમાં આપણે બધું એડજસ્ટ કરતા રહીએ છીએ કે ભાઈ આટલું આપણે જતું કરવું પડે, આટલું આપણને મળશે, હું જતું કરવાનું છે, એ બધું આપણને આ શીખવાનું છે. ગીતા જેટલું પવિત્ર ગ્રંથ અને સારામાં સારો ગ્રંથ કોઈ છે જ નહીં. બહુ સુંદર આપણને જીવવાની કળા બતાવેલી છે. અને એ 2-4 દિવસ કે 1 વર્ષમાં મળતું નથી. એનું મનન કરતા જઈએ, સમજતા જઈએ અને એને ઉતારતા જઈએ તો આપણી સફળ જિંદગી છે. સૌને રામ કબીર.
રામ કબીર, ગોવિંદજી,
Kabir, very nicely
આપ્યું છે.
summarized, Kaka.
Yes. તો હવે આજે પૂર્ણાહુતિ પહેલા જઈએ તે પહેલા જે we all want to thank you, Manishbhai, and we want you to again come back and share some of your real life experience and challenges, how you overcame, because that will inspire a lot of people. Um, I'll tell you the quickly, very short story about જે તમે કીધું કે શ્રી કૃષ્ણ પછી પણ અર્જુનને કહ્યું કે ડુ વોટ યોર કોન્શિયસ સેઝ, રાઈટ? તો તેમાં છે તે એક નાની સ્ટોરી જેવી છે કે ભાઈ એક નાનું ગામ હતું અને એ ગામમાં બધાને ખબર કે ભાઈ એક સંત કંઈ માઉન્ટેન પર રહી, પહાડ પર, અને એ ત્રિકાળ જ્ઞાની છે, એ બધું જ એને ખબર. તો પછી બે મિસ્ચીવ જેવા છોકરા હતા, મિસ્ચીફ જેવા, એ લોકો કીધું કે આપણે એ સંતનો ટેસ્ટ લઈ જઈએ. તો કે શું કરીએ? તો બંને કીધું કે હું એક જે મિસ્ચીફ હતો તેણે કીધું કે આપણે આવી એક લાઈવ બર્ડને હું લઈ જામ, જીવતું પક્ષી, પણ હું પાછળ રાખીશ મારા હાથમાં. અને પછી આપણે સંતને પૂછીશું કે ભાઈ મારા હાથમાં શું છે? તો કદાચ સંત કદાચ જાણી જાય ને કહી દે. તો એને પૂછ્યું કે હા પક્ષી છે પણ એ જીવતું છે કે મરેલું છે? ને એ જો કહે કે જીવતું છે તો આપણે એને હું એને એમ કે એ કરીને મચકીને એને મારી નાખીશ. ને પછી કેવા તો મરેલું છે. અને એ જો કહે કે મરેલું છે તો એ જીવતું આપણે બતાવી દઈએ. સો ધેટ વે ધ સંત ઇઝ ગોઈંગ ટુ fail, correct? So then both of them they go and they find the Sant બેઠેલા ધ્યાનમાં, મેડિટેશનમાં, and then say, okay, namaskar, whatever, namaste કરીને પછી પૂછે કે ભાઈ, why are you here? Like, we just want to know. We have heard that you know everything, and we just want to see if you really know everything what the people are saying. It's like, okay, what do you want to know? Oh, tell us, what do I have in my hand? So the son closes his eyes and, oh, you have a bird in your hand. Oh, then the guy said, okay, yeah, if I have the bird, is it dead or alive? So the guru answered, he said, and son, that is entirely in your hand. And
Very
that
good.
is very, very important, because with all the knowledge Krishna gave,
Yeah.
what Arjun has to do, it's entirely in his hand. And it's the same message to all of us, that hey, on whether Manishbhai comes or whoever comes on this platform or any other platform, the knowledge we give and share is knowledge, but what you do with it is entirely in your hand, individual hand. So thank you very
Very
much.
nice.
Ram. મિત્રો, પૂર્ણાહુતિ કરીએ ને આવતા રવિવારે પણ મળીશું. સોરી આજે થોડું લાંબુ થઈ ગયું, પરંતુ ધ ઇમ્પોર્ટન્ટ વોઝ ટુ ડાયજેસ્ટ ધીસ નોલેજ so we can bring that inner transformation within us. That's what it was. Hari Om. પૂર્ણ છે, પૂર્ણ છે, પૂર્ણથી તો પૂર્ણ ઉગ્યું છે બધું. પૂર્ણમાંથી પૂર્ણ આપી દો ભલે, શેષ પાછળ પૂર્ણ રહેવાનું સદા. ઓમ શાંતિ શાંતિ શાંતિ. હરિ ઓમ.